Hi everyone, welcome to MSCR Makes. I'm Miss Julia, and today we're going to be making DIY window clings. For this project, you will need some glue, some dish soap, a small bowl or two to mix your DIY window clings in, food coloring, measuring spoons, a spoon or something else to mix with, a paintbrush, and something that's plastic. You can use something like sandwich bags or some cling wrap, whatever you have on hand. You could also use a flat plastic surface. You can pause the video here and go gather your supplies. Now that you've had a chance to gather your supplies, I'm going to move some things out of the way. For my DIY window clings, I'm going to be using this recipe. I'll use 2 tablespoons of glue, 1/4 a teaspoon of dish soap, and then 1 to 2 drops of food coloring. I'll mix up my glue base first. Grab my glue. I'm going to carefully remove the top from my glue to make it easier for me to get out a tablespoon. You might want your grown-up to help you with this step. One, and 2. Then I'll use my spoon, or you could use a finger, to scrape out the extra glue from inside your measuring spoon. Next, I'll grab my 4th teaspoon and my dish soap. 1/4 teaspoon of dish soap. Next, I'll mix everything together. For the next step, we'll use our food coloring. You can either do the whole batch as one color, or you can divide up your glue mixture into a few smaller batches so you can do a few different colors. I'll just do one color this time. You only need a little bit of food coloring. If you put in too much, it will make the mixture too wet and your window clings won't work. Now that I have my mixture and I've chosen a color, I'm going to paint my window clings. I'm going to do my window clings over a white background of a plate so you can see them better. If you're using plastic wrap, you might want to take your plastic wrap and put it on something that's sturdier, like a plate, so that you can move it to a safe place to dry. I'll show you using a sandwich bag. I think I'll flip my plate upside down so that I have a flat part to work on. Now, I get to paint whatever I want to make into a window cling. You can use your imagination and paint whatever you think might be cool to make into a window cling. One thing that you want to remember when you're painting your window clings is that you want the glue mixture to be on thick enough that your window clings won't fall apart, but not too thick, because if it is too thick, then your window clings will take a really long time to dry. Even with a thin layer, your window clings will probably take overnight to dry. I've made a little turtle shape for this window cling. You can see that it is just thick enough that you can't see the white of my plate through anymore, but it's not so thick that it's glopped up in places. If you paint it on like this, where it's too thin and you can still see a lot of your surface underneath, your window cling will probably break. But if you put a big glob like this on, that will not dry and you won't get a window cling at all. So what you're going for is a thin layer that is even and just thick enough that you can't see the surface underneath anymore. You'll need to let these dry overnight before you can peel them off. I'll show you one I did ahead of time. Here's one that I did last night. It's already dry. You can see the difference between the wet and the dry window cling. The wet window cling is still opaque. You can't see through it at all. But the dry window cling is more transparent. You can see the plate or whatever else is underneath through it. That's how you know it's all the way dry. Also, I can touch it and none of it feels sticky anymore. When your window clings are all the way dry, find a little edge of them and gently peel them off your plastic. You don't want to touch the back side too much because that's the sticky part. That's what will stick to a surface. I have a small piece of plastic here that looks kind of like a tiny window. I'll show you how the window cling can stick onto a flat, smooth surface. See? It's stuck on there, just like if it was on a window. I'll show you a picture of all of my window clings that I made earlier on my window right here. What kind of fun shapes do you think you'll make for your window clings? Well, I hope you enjoy making your very own window clings, and I hope you've enjoyed this project. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!